7:01.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to call the December 7th Town Council meeting to order. Would you please stand for the pledge? Oh. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. We invite you to our meeting tonight to lead us and guide us and help us to have a great vision for the great town of Nashville. Amen.
Amen.
Our first item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes for November the 3rd, 2021. When you read over those, Council, did you find any corrections? If not, do I hear a motion that we approve the November the 3rd minutes?
So made.
Second. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The next group of minutes were for the November 16th, 2021 call meeting, the work session. Are there any corrections to those minutes?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
There is a motion and a second, so we approve the minutes for November the 16th. At this time, on our agenda, it's time for public comments. You will have 3 minutes to come to the podium, state your name, your address, and tell us your concern. And tonight we have one person, and it's James. Where's James? Okay, so you
Behind
make
the pole.
James Baker, 103 East Spring Street. I'm just want to bring attention about the traffic light that's on Washington Street in Austin. There's times, like especially in the morning when school is going on, starting, and especially when everybody's going to work in the morning, and then again when school is letting out, and in the afternoon when people getting off work. When you go to try to make a left-hand turn off of Washington with the CVS, if you have a truck that's on the opposite side of that road, you can't see it, and we all know how people fly down Washington and down on Austin Road. And since the traffic light is already there, can be considered that DOT be notified about maybe putting a left turn signal there for us, because the Nashville Junction is going to come in eventually, and that's going to add more traffic in and out that way. It's just that, sometimes you have to go through 2 and 3 lights waiting to make that turn there at CVS to go down to Austin. You can't see around the truck if it's on the opposite direction facing you.
Well, we
I just
thank
thought
you
that might be something you might want to
thank you
consider.
for sharing your concern with us. When it comes to traffic lights in these streets, it's out of our hands a lot of the time, and it's the Department of Transportation, but we appreciate you sharing anyway. The next item on our agenda is the organization meeting for the, let's see. Let's do our swearing in first. At this time, we will have our oath of office swearing in, and we'll first of all swear in Larry Taylor, and Judge Sumner is here to help us with that, so if he would come forward. Is your son here, and would you like him to come forward and
He
hold
just walked
them?
in.
You got here just in time.
Yes, he did.
Just in time. Come on up, son. He didn't expect this.
Yeah, important job.
Okay. You will move up there by the flag.
Come on.
Do you solemnly and sincerely swear that you will support the Constitution and laws of the United States, that you will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina, to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, that you will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution and laws of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, to the best of your knowledge and ability, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of your office as council member of the town of Nashville, except you God.
I did. Congratulations. Thank you.
next, we will swear in Kate Burns, who was elected. And I won't hold the Bible for her. Her husband's home with all the children.
Short version. Do you solemnly and sincerely swear that you will support the Constitution and laws of the United States, that you will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina, to the constitutional powers and authorities which are may be established in the government thereof, that you will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution and laws of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, to the best of your knowledge and ability, that you will faithfully discharge the duties of your office as council member, Town of Nashville, so help you God.
I do.
Congratulations.
Wait in the wings, please. At this time, on our agenda, it is the time that we elect our mayor pro tem. So at this time, do I hear a nomination for a pro tem for our council?
Mayor Brown, I'd like to nominate Lynn Hobbs for mayor pro tem.
I second.
A second. Lynn Hobbs has been nominated, and we have a second. So all those in favor of Lynn Hobbs being the pro tem for our council, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Will you be willing to serve as pro tem? Yeah. So now we have to have you sworn in.
Do you solemnly and sincerely swear that you will support the Constitution and laws of the United States, that you will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina, to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, that you will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution and laws of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, to the best of your knowledge and ability, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of your office as mayor pro tem of the town of Nashville, so help you God.
I do. And thank you so much for coming out tonight. We always appreciate you having
She's looking in on me 2 years ago.
The next item on our agenda is the appointment of council members to organizations and boards. And it says, as part of the organizational meeting, the town council has the opportunity to name representatives or make changes to our member organizations and advisory boards. The proposed chart replaces Councilmember Burns with Councilmember Hobbs on the Downtown Nashville Strong Advisory Board. Is that agreeable with everyone?
Yes.
And then if you, the next item, I guess we need a vote.
Can we speak about these just
Certainly,
briefly?
certainly.
In conversations I had with Kate, she was willing to, in my place, be on the library advisory board. Is that right, Kate? If we could make that change. And I'm just curious, several of us have a number of responsibilities. Can we be sure that we kind of spread those out with?
Okay, tell me what you would like, what you're thinking.
I actually wrote numbers down for.
Okay.
So, if I'm on library board, then I'm the representative on 3 boards and the alternate on 2. Lynn is the representative on 2 and an alternate on 1. Larry is representative on 1, alternate on 2. Louise is representative on 2, alternate on 0. Just proportionately, if we could spread the love. If Larry, would you be willing to serve on the library board? That would give him 2 representative positions and give me 2 instead of 3. And then Louise, if you could serve as alternate for that board or for the library, then that would give Louise an alternate.
Okay, let me look at, so Louise is going to be the alternate for the library board, and Larry's going to switch over to the representative.
Yes.
For the library board.
And then,
That's spreading the love.
that's spreading the love. We're going to all have 2
So
shares.
everybody has 2 representatives, and then it's 2, 1, 2, 1 for alternates.
Does everyone agree that that's fair? Do I hear a motion that we accept this spread the love that we just did? Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, then that's the way our organization board will be for our next year.
Oh,
Now-
well, excuse
Oh,
me.
wait a minute. Oh,
One last thing, the tree board is not on the list. Is that, should that be one?
Oh,
that's-
yes, that was, I think I wrote to Sarah. Yeah, I'm the representative on the tree board. And if anyone wants to be an alternate.
okay, originally I was already on the alternate for the library, so now I'm going to be the,
You're going to be the rep,
I'm
yeah.
gonna be the rep.
Representative, yeah.
And Louise will be your alternate.
Okay, Louise is alternate, okay.
So what about the tree board?
I'm the representative on the tree board, and there is no alternate. And the same with Downtown Strong, if we want to put alternates on there.
I don't know if I can serve as an alternate on the tree board, but I don't mind if I can.
Can't you?
But I don't know if I can or not. I know I have to represent the the
Right.
coastal plain in all those meetings.
I don't know of any reason that would prevent it.
So you will represent, continue on the tree board, okay? Okay. Lynn, do you have any other questions or
No, ma'am.
anybody else?
And Lynn, if you want me to serve as alternate for Downtown Strong, I can do that.
Yes, that would be great.
Louise, do you have any other questions or concerns? Larry? do
No,
you-
I'm good.
Okay, well then we will accept this as is, that we just voted on. All right, our next item is you received, and I received, a schedule for meetings. If you have looked at that and you've seen the one where we will have our regular sessions continue at 7, and then the work sessions at 1 in the afternoon. And then that's the first option, and the second option for the town council meetings is to do the regular meetings at 7. What is your,
Question, Mayor, in looking at option one, and we're talking about the second meeting of the month being a work session, is the intention to still bring items for action to that meeting, or it be strictly a work session meeting that we,
Strictly a work session. You discuss items, and then we would schedule them for action the following council meeting.
My only concern is that citizens might not be available to attend these work sessions at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, whereas at 7 they might.
if they didn't attend these work sessions, would each item at the work session be carried over to the regular meeting for all the citizens to hear?
Ultimately, when it needs action, I foresee the work session, maybe you kick an idea or project around for a month or two before you schedule it for approval at an evening council meeting.
and there wouldn't be any public hearings at the work sessions. Those
No.
would all
No,
be.
they would all
Public
be.
hearings have to stay the regular meetings.
And when I looked at this, I was thinking, wouldn't this eliminate us from paying overtime to our employees that have to stay late
Some
on
of them, yeah.
the meeting days that we pay some of them?
As far as access, I was thinking that too, Louise. It was one of my concerns, but then I was thinking if anyone works the night shift, that would be something that they could actually attend. Or if anyone has something, work every Tuesday evening, then this could be
As
a
long
time
as
that they could attend
every
during lunch.
citizen gets to know what's going on,
Right.
that comes out of the work session, so we'll be transparent and they can see what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with it, but it's up to you, council.
Well, when the public asks when are our meetings, it's already confusing as to what night we're meeting. I'm in favor of staying with option 2 myself,
Do I hear another suggestion?
simply because it's simpler, everybody's
Right.
getting used to it. Going through another,
I'm fine with either.
for 2.
Either way. Do I hear a second to his motion or another motion?
I think there are times when we could be flexible if we need a work session,
Then we can call one.
because we've done that in the past.
That's right.
Yes.
And there are things that absolutely need to be worked,
So,
Is that, I'm just wondering, because I'm looking here and there's no work sessions in the option 2. It's just regular meetings.
But if we
So
need
will
one,
it further complicate things
But if we
if
need
we throw in work
if we
sessions?
need one, we can just call one, just like
Right.
we've been doing in the past.
Okay.
Do I hear a motion? You made the motion.
I made that motion.
Do I hear a second? There's a second.
second.
All those that would like to keep option 2, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Okey doke, we will keep option 2. Our next item on our agenda is the advisory board appointments. Randy?
Sure. Our boards and commissions terms typically expire at the end of December on most of our advisory boards. And this year, we have terms on the planning board, board of adjustment, library board. And we can go through these. First of all, on the planning board, we have Ann Collier and Bill Lump have expressed interest in, to the planning staff, on being reappointed to the planning board, and their appointments would expire then December 31st of 2025. Dwight Jordan, who is on the planning board presently, he submitted his resignation to the planning board effective December 31st. Mr. Jordan has served on the planning board since March of 2016, 6 years. Shirley House is also on the planning board presently, and she submitted her resignation effective December 31st, 2021. Ms. House has served on the planning board since 1993 or 4. We couldn't find the exact appointment.
We actually served on the planning board years ago when I was much younger than I am now. Years ago.
28 years. So we do have later on the meeting agenda a resolution of appreciation for their service to the planning board.
Would you like for me to call them up now? Or just wait till you go through all of them?
Yeah, we'll do it under the special presentation
Okay.
that's on the agenda, if you wouldn't mind. Jacqueline Lewis has submitted an application for appointment to the planning board, and if approved, this appointment would expire December 31st of 2025. The areas of interest and expertise that Ms. Lewis can contribute are to community development, work process improvement, and understanding of census tract data. If the changes above are made, there is still one vacancy on the planning board, which will and we included in the requirements for serving on the planning board in the packet, so you can have that. Councilmember Hobbs did send several names to the staff this afternoon of people, and we're going to reach out to them. If they are interested, we can have them on the January meeting agenda for appointment to the planning board. Also on the Board of Adjustment, we have Willie Norris has submitted his resignation to the Planning and Development Director and is not seeking a reappointment on the Board of Adjustment. At this time, we don't have a replacement, but town staff would like to continue seeing if we can find somebody to bring forth for the next council meeting to serve on that board. On the library board, we have Ms. Sykes' term on the advisory board will expire December 31st, 2021, and Library Director Tequila Austin has received an application from Doris Batchelor and Kristen Bass to serve on the library board. I think Tequila has some additional information to give to the council on that before those appointments are considered. And then on the Park Rec and Cultural Resources Advisory Board, Jason Johnson and Melissa Lump have terms that will expire at the end of the year. Both have expressed interest in being reappointed for the term of 2 years, and the town staff is requesting their official reappointment, and their new terms will expire December 31st, 2023. And then finally, the tree board, Elaine Robertson has expressed interest in being reappointed to the tree board. Her current term expires December 31st, 2021, and the town staff is requesting her official reappointment also. So, Mayor, if you wanted to, person by person, beginning with Ms. Collier and Mr. Lump, pursue their reappointment to the planning board.
Okay. Council, are you in agreement with the reappointment of Ann Collier and Bill Lump to the planning board? Do I have to have a motion, or can we go through them all and then have a motion?
You can do them individually. I am.
Pardon?
I said we can do them individually,
Okay.
and I am in favor.
I am too.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
And then for our, we didn't have anybody for our planning board, did we?
We have Jacqueline Lewis.
Oh, yeah, I see she's in the next paragraph. Jacqueline Lewis, is she here tonight? No. Do I hear a motion that we approve Jacqueline Lewis to serve on our planning board?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
We do not have a replacement yet for the Board of Adjustment. For the Library Board, we have Deborah Batchelor and Kristen Bass. Yes.
So, I just wanted to say that at that time, we thought we needed two members, but we only need one position to be filled. And so the recommendation is for Kristen Bass. I spoke to Miss Deborah, and she would like to wait for another opening to occur
Okay.
to be recommended.
So
Like,
do I hear a
since I
motion then
explained
that we approve Kristen Bass
Kristen
to serve
Bass.
on the Library Board?
So,
There's
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 And we need to vote for Jason Edwards and Melissa Lump to remain on the PRCR Advisory Board. Do I hear a motion for that?
So made.
Second. Okay. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
And Elaine Robertson would like to remain on the Tree Board. Do I hear a motion for Elaine to remain on the Tree Board? Second. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, our next item on our agenda is to recognize some wonderful people that have served us. So Shirley House, would you please come forward? Do you want to just stand right here, Shirley? Should I come down?
Yeah, you can do that, Mayor.
Is this okay, like right here? That'd be great. And this lady has served 28 years on our planning board. Whereas the town of Nashville is, well, here's yours, I've got the wrong one. Whereas the town of Nashville is always appreciative of those who choose to serve for the betterment of the town, and whereas Shirley House served the town of Nashville as a planning board member from 1993 to 2021, and whereas it is fitting that the town of Nashville shows its appreciation when one has rendered such service to the planning board. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and town council of the town of Nashville that Shirley House is hereby acknowledged as having been a good, loyal, and faithful public servant of the planning board, and that on behalf of the citizens of the town of Nashville, we express deep appreciation for the valuable service which she has provided to the town. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be presented to Shirley House, and a copy of the same shall be placed within the permanent records of the town of Nashville. Thank you, and we love you, Shirley, for serving. Thank you so much. And I need for Dwight Jordan to please come forward. And thank you so much, Dwight. Whereas the town of Nashville is always appreciative of those who choose to serve for the betterment of the town, and whereas Dwight Jordan served the town of Nashville as a planning board member from 2016 to 2021, and whereas it is fitting that the town of Nashville shows its appreciation when one has rendered such service to the planning board. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and town council of the town of Nashville that Dwight Jordan is hereby acknowledged as having been a good, loyal, and faithful public servant of the planning board, and that on behalf of the citizens of the town of Nashville, we express deep appreciation for the valuable service which he has provided to the town. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be presented to Dwight Jordan, and a copy of same shall be placed within the permanent records of the town of Nashville. And we love and appreciate you serving us too.
Thank you so much.
Is Willie Morris here? I don't think.
I don't see it.
I don't see Willie, okay. Willie Morris has served 16 years on the Board of Adjustment, but we will get this to him. Okay, let's move on to our next item. This is the Farmers Market Managed Agreement, and Randy, you're going to talk with us about that.
Sure. This was on the last council meeting agenda, and there were some changes requested, and Town Attorney Mark Edwards has had a chance to put those in, and we did talk about those at the council's November 16th work session. A copy of that final agreement then was forwarded on to Nash County, and the commissioners at their meeting yesterday did approve that agreement. What the agreement is that Nash County will share their farmers market manager with the town of Nashville. We will get 8 hours of their manager's time a week to help us with our farmers market. And, the intent there is for our part-time farmers market manager to shadow and mentor theirs and learn the tricks of the trade, so to speak, and pick up everything they need to know. And that this agreement is only for 1 year, can be renewed for another year and a year after if we decide to do that. The commissioners did approve this. What you have in your packet had some red text in it, which is on page 56 of 123. What the supervisors approved was the striking of that red and the replacing of it with what is in the highlighted area. That the Nash County Farmers Market Manager shall begin when the town notifies Nash County in writing when the town is ready to begin planning for opening of the Nashville Farmers Market. Payment from the town shall begin once the Nash County Market Manager begins working for the Nashville Farmers Market.
Are there any questions for Randy concerning this? If not, do I hear a motion that we accept this farmer market management agreement? That's a mouthful.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 Thank you. It's approved. Our next item on our agenda is the Nashville Junction land donation agreement. We had to make some little corrections on that. Randy, do you want to handle that also?
Sure. Sarah had passed out to the council members this evening.
Right.
At the time that the agenda report was put together and put in the packet, the only change that Mr. Hurd had wanted for the agreement was language in there that the surface of the parking lot that the town is going to build at the junction be asphalted. And then the day after, we got a few more. I forwarded those on to Mark Edwards, and he put them in the agreement that you were handed out this evening, and they're in blue or red text. One thing Mark did point out to me just before the meeting began here is those changes that Mr. Hurt had emailed to us. There was one page missing, and he emailed to us the same page twice. So when I was going through it, I didn't see where he had written in his desire that the parking lot be paved, but I'm assuming it's on the page I think it's sent to us. And I believe Mark is of the same belief. That being said, as long as we have Mark here, Mark Boyle, would you mind reviewing with the council the changes that were made to the agreement?
Yes, I Actually, I'll start with one change you didn't make. Paragraph 8, which runs on to page 3. So the top of page 4, Mr. Hurt had wondered if we could change that July 30th, 2023 date, but we've let him know that that's part of the inducement agreement, so really, it doesn't change in this because we're just mimicking the dates we had in the inducement agreement, so just, that came up, so I just want to mention that. Then paragraph 15, which is on page 5. That it's basically two changes that, one, we had 30 days after we notified him that he would have to convey the deed, and he asked to change it to a little more loose, reasonable time, and he put in the 30 to 90 days. So I drafted it the way he requested it. So that 30 to 90 days was his request. Then the other thing he requested that the town have the property appraised, and that the deed to the town would be contingent upon the town first getting the appraisal. So at the beginning of the paragraph, it says the town should obtain the appraisal. Once the appraisal is obtained and we give it to him, then it'll be his obligation to convey the property to the town. And I should have said the third thing he asked for was that the town, well, the way he phrased it was the town issue a tax credit. But I believe the way I put it in there, interpreting what he wanted, is basically the town will cooperate with him in providing whatever documents he and his CPA believe need to be submitted to the tax authorities. But it really be incumbent upon him to apply for the tax credits or benefits, whatever tax benefits he has. The town wouldn't necessarily be doing something on his behalf. And there is a little typo in there in the fourth line from the bottom. The beginning of the line says town, and it says town shall have, and the next word should be no. Where it says to, it should be say no.
What page is that, Mark?
6.
Okay.
So you look at the end of paragraph 15, 4 lines up, town shall have no affirmative obligation. So as I just was saying, it says that it's up to Mr. Hurt to apply for any tax credits. The town will cooperate, but the town's not obligated to go out there and do something for him tax-wise. Which I'm assuming that would be acceptable to him, I assume. And that's the only change.
Are there any questions for Mark from the council or any concerns?
Mayor, if I may point out, paper clip to what Sarah handed out from Mark is a document that we got emailed back from Michael Hurt. And you can see page 2 and page 3 are the same. I didn't pick up on that. Like I said, Mark pointed it out to me this evening. And page 3 actually then talks about the parking lot itself. And that's where we're assuming, Michael, if he would have sent us that page, it would have said that he wants the parking lot to be an asphalt surface. So we do have Kevin Barnell with Stocks Engineering here this evening. If you have questions about the cost, the projected cost of this parking lot, as you know, the council budgeted $275,000 in this current fiscal year for the parking lot at the Junction. And there's been some concern by myself that for that amount of money, are we going to be able to put an asphalt surface on the parking lot? And if you wouldn't mind, I guess I'd like Kevin, since he's here, maybe to address the council and speak to that.
Kevin, would you like to come forward, please?
Good evening, Mayor, council members. So Randy has briefly mentioned that to me, and obviously with the construction costs continuing to go up, we also have fuel costs going up as well, along with labor shortages and things like that. Obviously, any costs that have been projected in the past are continuing to go up, and I can't remember, I don't know that 275 was the original budget that was given for the parking lot. I think there were a lot of other things. So a lot of it is really going to depend on how much we're going to do there on our side of it. But again, on the parking lot, we're looking at some also improvements with stormwater as well. We can't just go in and pave a parking lot and then send more water downstream to the adjacent property owner. So we'll have to do some things there as well to try to go and, I guess, be a good neighbor in that location. So I'll be happy to answer any specific questions you have, but as we continue to chase costs, I mean, the costs are going up, not down.
So what is the ballpark estimate for doing an asphalt parking lot and retention pond at this point?
I'd have to go back and look at the site, I guess, that we've got. I didn't look at that before tonight's meeting, so I don't know exactly what I would project at this point, but the costs are up around 30%. So if there was an original number thrown out at 275, I mean, you can pretty much guarantee a 30% increase in that number.
If we were to do a gravel lot this year and then pave it next year, is that even a viable option? Is that something that can be done?
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, ultimately, we'd have to kind of think about parking and how we delineate parking spaces. It's always inefficient with a gravel parking lot because no one parks close enough, and there aren't any lines to delineate where to park. So that's certainly an option to put gravel down and then come back and pave it later, and that can be set up that way and designed that way and built that way on day one. And really, what you would be paying is for the mobilization to come back and just pave the parking lot. So that's an option. I mean, there are some other options in potentially reducing the life cycle of the parking lot. So typically, we like to design them for a 20-year life cycle. We could design for a shorter life cycle, being less stone, a little less asphalt, knowing that we would have to come back much quicker to overlay that parking lot and put additional asphalt on top. So there are some options to play with, and kind of what I told Randy is we may want to just kind of head into this. If the budget is what the budget is, then we can essentially build whatever monies we have, and then kind of evaluate it at that point once the bids come in to see what makes the most sense as moving forward, whether we want to do all the gravel and wait on the asphalt or whether we'd like to do a reduced pavement section.
Do we have an example of somewhere local that has reduced pavement that you can give us?
So the answer is yes. There are two locations. Off of Sunset Avenue, Harris Teeter's parking lot has a reduced pavement section, and the Dunkin' Donuts across the street both have reduced pavement sections. So they're essentially across the street from each other. And so far, both parking lots have appeared to hold up extremely well. I can't promise that in every location. A lot of it has to do with the soils underneath. But knowing the soils that we have, knowing what this location was used for, that we did have heavy equipment there, I don't feel like we're going to have a lot of issues with the soil underneath. So it may be a good option. No geotech or engineer in the world is going to recommend that. Okay, I mean, but I will tell you there are multiple locations that have reduced pavement sections that have held up fine.
Well, even with a gravel lot to begin with, we can still put, I guess, parking bumpers.
Absolutely.
You can still do that so everybody people won't be parking everywhere.
That's right. You'll give some guide, but like I said, typically what happens is you put a little more gap between it. When you don't have the lines on the pavement, you tend to park a little further away, and that's okay. I mean, like I said, it'd be a little inefficient, but we're not going to lose half the parks. I mean, so.
Any questions?
But is Hertz requirement asphalt?
That's his desire.
Brian, I think that we may be in a situation like that. I looked at everything one more time before I came over here, and that's when I realized that we had like a 7-page agreement from Michael Hurt, but then I realized that page 2 and 3 were the exact same page, and what should have been page 3 has the exact paragraph of the where the asphalt will be, and a good assumption may be that Mike Hurt put on the draft that he did not get over to us, that he wanted to be asphalt based on his conversations with the town manager. So I guess one way of handling it is to pass what you have before you tonight with no change to paragraph 5, which makes it up another change from Mr. Hurt, which means we would have to come back at the next town board meeting to address paragraph 5, or you can change paragraph 5 now to address Mr. Hurt's request. And if you want to make that change, I think I have the language to make the change, but I won't. Depends on which of those routes you want to go.
What is the desire of the council? What you're talking about is still asphalt. It's just thin asphalt.
Right, exactly. Instead of
skinny
That's right,
asphalt.
that's right. It really, we're talking about a reduced stone section underneath. So typically, we would do 2 inches of asphalt, 8 inches of stone. Here, and again, there are a lot of options. We could do 1.5 inches of asphalt and then 4 inches of stone, knowing that we would have to come back in a 5-year time period, or at some time period when the asphalt started cracking, and do another 1.5 inch overlay over top. I mean, you would build on top of what you
I
have.
mean, that seems like the most fiscally responsible, where we do what we need to do to, reduce noise. We talked about asphalt from the beginning, I think, and reduce just the problems that come with a gravel lot. By
You-
doing that reduced pavement and then coming back when it's needed, which hopefully will pull a Harris Teeter and will be for many, many years to come.
Could be. So, I mean, essentially, I think, look at it from, you're paying probably the same amount. We're going to end up doing the same over
Right.
time. It's just now we're able to finance it ourselves through
Right.
and let it extend out a few years. And again, I'm not an advocate for this, so don't take it this way. But one benefit to doing it that way would be you get a new looking asphalt every 5 years or so, where normally you would get a new asphalt on day one, and then it begins to look older and older and older the longer it goes. So, I'm not saying I'm in favor of this, but by putting new
But it's an
asphalt down
option,
every so
right.
often, I mean, it's obviously a brand new parking lot every so often.
Do you think this would keep us within the 275,000 budget?
I think we can do a project that's in the 275 and put asphalt down. And again, there's some unknowns on the drainage side that we need to address, but I think there's a project there. I don't know how many parks we'll end up with. We may have to do half the parking lot or something. I mean, but I think there's a project that can be done for that amount. Is that a good statement or bad statement?
I say we stay within what we got money for right now, and we look down the road and do something else if we need to.
Do I,
So-
But is
Okay.
that going to be a deal breaker?
Well, what language do you have? Maybe there's some.
I mean, I guess the way,
wiggle room in
it would still be
on
asphalt.
paragraph
It's still
5,
asphalt.
page 3 of the agreement, the first sentence is giving the town the discretion to determine how to construct the lot. But I would add at the end, if you wanted to go with Mr. Hurt's request, to, after the word town at the end of the sentence, then comma, provided however the parking lot shall be paved with asphalt. And so the town, as you can see in paragraph 6, the parking lot needs to have 125 spaces to meet the agreement with Mr. Hurt. And in paragraph 7, the parking lot will need to be constructed by July 30th, 2022 to meet the agreement with Mr. Hurt as well. So that all kind of goes with it.
And we still have in the inducement agreement the fact that it's up to $275,000.
That dollar amount is in the inducement.
So I think that would still cover us with what we're talking about here, in that we would do a reduced pavement or,
Well, nowhere in the agreement does it state how thick the pavement's
Right.
gonna be.
No.
right,
And it's
Right.
going to be asphalt.
And it's gonna be asphalt, it's just not gonna be as thick as what we would normally do.
right.
And like I say, every 5 or 6 years, we go back and redo it, it's like a brand-new parking lot again. So I say we go with the, reduced asphalt. He's getting his asphalt, it may not be as thick as he wants, but it's not his to choose, it's ours.
Would you put that in the form of a motion, please?
You said I figure out what I just said.
So let's get this asphalt.
I would say we go with the 275, like we said, with a reduced asphalt to be poured, and we look at resurface it at a later date, if needed.
Is there a second?
Or we can say, sorry, just, that it will be an asphalt paved
Right, it will be.
surface.
Yeah.
Will be an asphalt
Right,
surface.
The 275 wouldn't be in this new document that you're approving tonight.
The
Right.
275 is in the inducement agreement.
Smart. That's already said.
And
It will be asphalt.
And if I can interject, I wouldn't say that we're going to do the reduced section. I would just say that we're going to
It will be
pave it, and
asphalt.
then we'll decide how we want to handle the project once the
Right.
bids come
Right.
in.
Yeah.
And that gives us a lot of flexibility.
Right.
I'll read it one more time and just see if that's part of the motion, is that you would add to the end of the first sentence of paragraph 5, provided, however, the parking lot shall be paved with asphalt.
The less we say, the better we are.
Do I hear a second to his motion?
Second.
You seconded, okay, Louise seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
We will press forward then. Motion carries. Did I skip, the one about the Nashville Junction, land donation agreement, or did we cover that?
That's what we just did.
That's what we just
So
did.
that was all together there with the parking lot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does there need to be a separate motion that we approve
That's
this
what I was
agreement
thinking. I
subject to
think
that
If you were,
addition?
if that vote was just on paragraph 5, then you need to take another vote.
That's what I was thinking. So we need to, I need to have a motion to approve the land donation agreement with the town and Hurt LLC, pending any additional changes from Mr. Hurt and the council. Do I hear a motion for that?
Move to approve.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay, now our next item is the town charter amendment, and approval between the town and the, Colley, PA, of Wilson to revive and update our town's charter. And this, person, is my understanding, is supposed to be an expert in town charters. And so I'm sure you read this in your packet, but we do need to have a motion from the council to approve this.
Mary, did we skip 8C?
8C we may have.
Stocks engineering.
I had suggested, until we just have a fully executed document, just hold off to signing the contract for stocks until next month.
Okay.
Just so that we're not agreeing to go forward and then say we didn't adequately cover paragraph 5 and Michael comes back and we're still negotiating.
Okay.
So we're just gonna,
Table that.
till
Table.
we're gonna table, our, that item at this time.
Mayor, would you ask for a motion to table?
Do I hear a motion that we table, it's 8C on our agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, I need to have a motion that we, hire this person for our, town charter. Do I hear a motion?
Randy, can you give us some background on
Sure.
this folks?
Well, Francis Bradbury used to work for the League of Municipalities, doing charters, updating charters for towns and smaller cities. And a while back, the league got away from doing that, and then he went back to private practice, and he's now working for this firm, Macaulay and Pridgett, that has a Wilson office. And he still does help towns with charter amendments. And we reached out to him, and he responded back with this letter of engagement. And Mark has had a chance to go through this too. And what he proposes here is that he will work with us and help us update our charter, making sure we retain what we need to in it, but take out things that are no longer relevant because of recent changes in the state statute. And the fee for his work and helping do this will not exceed $5,500.
Mayor, based on the work the council did during our work session where we felt like we needed some additional expertise, I think it would behoove us to move forward with this. In addition, our finance director has managed to locate some funds in the current budget without an additional appropriation in order to cover this cost. So I would move that we move forward with this town charter amendment contract.
Second.
The second by Ms. Hinton. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 Thank you so much. So we'll move on with that. Our next item on our agenda, I will turn over to Sherry Moss, our Planning and Development Director.
This item is Breedlove Road subdivision construction plat. Is to review and approve Marcus Sharon's Breedlove Road construction plat. I believe is Marvin Sharon. I know. It's a 58 lot R15 low density residential subdivision on 63 acres of land lying just north of Breedlove Road and partially in the Nashville ETJ. And the petition property is currently in Nash County's jurisdiction, just outside of Nashville's ETJ, but is seeking to annex within Nashville's town limits, pending construction plat approval. The applicant developer is meeting the state stormwater requirements. The proposed subdivision will be accessed off Breedlove Road. The proposed subdivision will be accessible to public water and will have individual septic tanks. Each lot and the septic tanks will require a certificate of approval from Nash County Health Department. The streets of the proposed subdivision will be owned and maintained by Town of Nashville. Notices to nearby property owners were mailed on Friday, November 20th, 2021, prior to the planning board's meeting that was held on December 1st. And the developer is requesting some waivers, which will be later discussed. And also, the planning board reviewed the construction plat and requested waivers, at its December 1st planning board meeting, and is recommending approval of construction plat 2021-03 and its waivers. And the waivers, there were 5 of them. The first waiver is from curb and gutter. Second is from sidewalks. The third waiver is the street width. And the fourth is the block length off of one of the streets. And 5 was the future stub. And in your packet, you have your construction plat checklist, followed by site plan, street lighting, area view, showing where the proposed developments to take place, followed by a list of the nearby and adjacent property owners, and TRC comments and responses from Stocks Engineering, followed by the approval from the Board of Adjustment, from Planning Board, and also Kevin Varnell is here from Stocks Engineering.
Do we have to have a public hearing at this time of anybody?
No, this
We do
is
not
not
for this,
it's
okay.
not a public hearing.
Council, what is your concern or input about the Breedlove Road subdivision?
In looking at this item, Mayor, basically the property is outside Nashville's planning district and ETJ. If it were property within the town, I would have some hesitation about approving the waivers, but since it's not, they are asking to be annexed into the town, I'm guessing in order to have water service. I'd be willing to entertain this with the waivers in place due to that fact.
Is there a second?
If that's a motion, I second
I
it.
make that as a motion.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
Something I do just want to stress is that this is not within town limits,
Right.
not within the ETJ. It's outside the ETJ, and they would like to annex in. And I think that we need to promote and incentivize folks annexing in. And I think with this development, we're looking for larger lots and larger homes, and this is exactly what this is going to provide. So that's why, because otherwise, I'm a strict rule follower.
But one of the waivers were for narrower streets, right?
The construction width. Construction width from, I believe the requirement was 28 down to 24.
Oh, okay, okay.
Can I
And
add
he doesn't
one?
want to put in the stub, don't want to stub anything? No stubs here?
I can let Kevin answer it if you have a question about the future stubs.
Well, what surrounds it? I mean, there's opportunity
it's-
to build, to
Well,
extend buildings.
It's a
all
lot
around.
of marsh and wetlands, I believe.
The only
That's
place
something-
where you could stub is to the north, because everything else already has existing subdivisions that
Right.
don't have stubs themselves. And I believe it's all wetland, marshland to the north.
Okay.
Kevin can answer that better than I can.
We need to keep in mind that we already got no sewers, and won't set the tanks, and we already got 2 places here in town with no sewers.
Right, so you can answer that too, as
Yeah,
far
so-
as extending sewer.
Yeah, so on the stubs, you're exactly right. If you look to the east of this property, there are 3 ponds and an existing kind of a farm operation being stables. Really makes no sense environmentally to go to the east because of those ponds. To the north of us is a power line easement, and then ultimately Pig Basket Creek, which is a very large swamp. No chance of crossing that creek to get to the other side. And immediately to our left is Cottonwood's one of their original subdivisions. And so that's a county-style subdivision, kind of like ours, but that's immediately to our west. So everything on the road front's already developed. We had a very small sliver to get into the property. So it's a uniquely located piece of property based on where it is. It's in a farm, rural setting, so we think it's really fitting with the lot sizes that we're calling for. And then on the septic side, so what's a little bit different here, Regency and the ones, Surrey Drive, we're having issues with now. They're very small lots at 10,000 square feet. These are twice that size, 20,000 square feet. But not only do we have area for the septic systems on each lot, we also have a repair area as well. So there'll be actually 2 locations for septic systems on each lot. In the event that one fails, they automatically have a second one that they can install. So, again, all that will be permitted through the Nash County Environmental Health Department. So we feel like there are multiple measures in place to prevent us from getting right back to where we are with current subdivisions in town.
That's good news.
I want to add one thing too with the drainage ditches. So I see that there is going to be an HOA that's created. If we could just have language in the HOA document that requires that the individual homeowners have to clean out their portion of the drainage ditch, and if they don't, that the HOA will take care of that, just so we don't have another issue like we do with Windy Oak, where drainage ditches are filling up and no one's maintaining those.
What about the potential well site?
So we, I guess if, Sheriff, you can bring up the construction plat for me. We actually have reserved a well site on this piece of property. So originally, when we looked at the subdivision, we were in the county, not the town, and we were looking at option for water. So we were originally looking at a community water system, but then it really made no sense to do a community water system and be a county subdivision, knowing the town of Nashville had a 10-inch line on Breedlove Road that really needs connections. So it was really a great opportunity to work together. And essentially, the well site that we had originally allocated for this piece of property, the developer is going to allow the town to utilize that site and place an easement around it. So if you would like to drill a well in the future, that location is reserved there, and we'll actually stub the water line to it so that it's an easy connection when it's done.
That's good.
Mhm.
Very good. Thank you so much. Any other questions?
On page 84, 3G, should that be 63 acres? Page 84.
It's a 63-acre parcel, but there's only a small portion of that will actually be developed. Is that the question, Louise?
Well,
It's a
the area of the
6.5.
subdivision in acres, it has 6.5, shouldn't that be 63?
Yes.
Sherry, do you recall where you got that 60-acre?
Off the construction plat, that might have been the area that was disturbed or something.
That's the disturbed area
Yeah,
for the
that
property.
was
So
disturbed.
on the erosion control side, the area that we're disturbing to construct the streets would be 6.5 acres.
Okay.
But the property itself, the tract acres is 63.2.
It says area of subdivision in acres,
Right, yeah.
so that should be 60.
It should have been 63 acres, that's correct.
Any other questions or comments? We've had a motion and a second, so all those in favor of approving this, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so the motion carries, so we will approve this Pre-Love Road subdivision.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. The next item on our agenda, Sherry, you will handle that too. It's the density resident.
This next is a public hearing, amended the town's land use ordinance to clarify that only single-family and two-family dwellings are allowed in the R6 high-density zoning district. So in section 18-112F, I apologize, I'm trying to get this up here. So in section 18-112, it states, or defined as medium to high density, R6 is defined as medium to high density residential areas where single family and multifamily dwellings are commingled. So, but in the table of permitted uses, multifamily are not allowed in R6. So when staff looked at this, we thought it would be fitting to replace multifamily with two-family, so it can be consistent with everything else in our zoning ordinance.
Two-family meaning duplex.
Yes.
Could you use the term duplex?
No, because in our zoning ordinance, it's listed as dwelling, two-family.
AKA duplex.
And this goes along, because they are allowed by special use permits in the A1, R10, R6M, R6.
And so we're required to have a public hearing for this.
Yes.
It's so, is there a motion that we go into a public hearing concerning this?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone here that would like to speak to this tonight?
Do we need to have a public hearing tonight on this?
She's all right.
It's required to make tax amendments to the land use ordinance requires a public hearing before the planning board and before the town council.
I mean, the reason I asked that is because it just come up tonight, and the public hadn't had time to have any opinion about it.
It's been advertised before the planning board meeting, and it went before the planning board, and it's been advertised twice prior to this meeting.
And this change is basically to eliminate any confusion. Somebody looking at the ordinance right now may get the impression by reading the definition or the intent and purpose of R6 that you can put multifamily in it. Well, you don't realize till you page through the ordinance and get to the chart of permitted uses, multifamily dwellings are not allowed in the R6 zoning district. That's why the staff is proposing we make this text amendment to clarify that in the definition or in the purpose and the intent of the R6. So nobody reads that and has the opinion, oh, I can put an apartment building in an R6 zoning district.
So it's really changing to avoid any confusion. We've never let multifamily in an R6 prior
Right.
to this, and never would. It's to eliminate that question conversation.
If there's no one here to speak on this, do I hear a motion that we close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is now closed. Now we must take a vote. So do I hear a motion that we accept and approve this wording to our ordinance in our density, R6 density residential district?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Moving right along to our next item. Sherry, that's yours also, the land use ordinance amendment.
Okay, the next item that we have is regarding mobile food vending, and this is something that we currently have, and is right now is only allowed in the I-1 industrial zoning district. And so planning staff is kind of recommending to allow mobile food vendors in the B1 General Business and the B2 Central Business Zoning Districts, and approve the text amendment with the passage of ordinance 2021-06. And just FYI, we've had several vendors that have, inquired about, where can they locate other than those I-1 zoning districts. And places they have set up in the past, and, we have to, let them finish cooking. So, we just didn't want them to up and leave in the middle of them selling food or cooking and waste money. So, they ask, they're always asking, where can we set up? Where can we set up? And so there are a lot of various locations within the B1 and the B2 zoning districts. So staff, we went in and looked at other locations. I believe we visited sites of City of Raleigh. I believe Mecklenburg County was one, and just looking at what can we add into our ordinance to make this user-friendly, but at the same time, be respectful for other restaurants that you have downtown in your B1 and your B2 zoning districts. And so what you have in your ordinance, the changes are in red, allowing them in the B1 and B2. And also, so everything in black in note 17 from A through J was already existing. And C, where it has no alcoholic beverages may be sold from mobile food vending locations. So planning board staff did have a concern, about maybe council looking into this to possibly may allowing that alcohol, maybe having alcohol beverages sold there. And I was a change, F, extending hours from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. And I, B1, and allowing them in B1 and B2. And then you have K, locating at least, stating locating at least 100 feet from the front entrance of an existing restaurant and outdoor dining area, and at least 50 feet from any other permitted mobile food vending cart location. Then you have L through Q. And then section 3 is just, we added the two definitions that came from the North Carolina Administrative Code for mobile food vending. And a public hearing is required for this as well.
And these additional requirements we got from the other towns' mobile food vending ordinances that we had examined and looked at. And as Sherry mentioned, there were a number of them. And they seem to have all these things in common that we've added to this. So, and Sherry is right, we've had quite a few requests from mobile food vendors wanting to come to Nashville. And, we've reached out to the Chamber of Commerce and asked them to share this ordinance amendment with their membership. I haven't heard back from anybody on the Chamber as to whether they were okay with this, opposed to this, had any questions with it.
We do have to have a public hearing, so do I hear a motion that we go into public hearing concerning this issue?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone here that would like to speak to this issue tonight?
And just to add, this also went before our Downtown Strong Committee as well. Yes.
If not, do I hear a motion that we close the open public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, then let's look at this, and are there any questions for Sherry concerning this?
I have a couple that might just be cleanup, but questions too. So C, the alcohol portion, and then we have over in the explanation that, Mark, you mentioned that we don't have the authority to regulate the sale of alcohol.
Well, yeah, you don't have to ask the town attorney about everything, so if you're okay with this, if you're okay with leaving it in there, that's fine. I just can't guarantee that.
We can do anything about it.
Someday in the future, the ABC folks could knock on the door and say, you really don't have jurisdiction
Okay.
over this.
But not a problem.
I just kind of with that caveat, just, you know,
Okay.
lawyers can mess things up sometimes. So just, I would say do what you want to do, but I can't guarantee.
Okay. And then just in cleanup, section F, premises needs to be moved up next to the. H, current Department of Health permit must be on file with the town. I'm missing a word. K. This one, I think we're trying to say shall be located at least 100 feet away
Yes.
from the front entrance, and then at least 50 feet away from any other permitted mobile food vending cart location.
Yes.
And there's a typo in N, it should be receptacle. And an O, where we're talking about nuisances causing parking or traffic congestion, can we do like a noise violation too, if things start getting
Yes,
too
'cause
loud?
some of them had, some other ordinances did have noise in
Okay, yeah, if
theirs,
we could just add, I mean, I'm all for some festive music for your food, but if it starts getting to be irritating or people can't enjoy their property, then,
And they would only be located on private property.
Yes. Now, this would still allow through a special event permit, blooming fence. Or something down in Stony Creek Park.
What was the feedback from Downtown Strong?
The main thing they were concerned is, with the area, like downtown and what restaurants they have there, they just didn't want them, you know, right on top of them. So I felt it helpful to put, they were fine with the distance with that, just as long as they weren't too close.
This came up some years ago, Larry, I don't know if you remember it, and the competition was not appreciated because people invest in brick and mortar, and you know, having people roll in with a truck, this competition makes it difficult for those people who've invested.
Right, and I believe if you put the proper regulations on there, I feel it would work.
Anyone else? Do I hear a motion that we approve the land use ordinance amendment for these, what do you call them, these vendors?
Mobile food vendors.
The mobile food trucks.
well, with the recommendation of the planning board, Downtown Strong, and no feedback from the chamber, I recommend that we move forward with this.
With those corrections that were,
Yes, with the
is
corrections.
there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving right along, our next item is the upset bid purchase offer. Randy, the upset bid purchase offers for North Lumber Street.
Yes, the town received an upset bid purchase from Dante Finch to purchase the town's vacant lot at 215 North Lumber Street for $4,000. And it did come with the company required 5% bond or $200 purchase bond. And that was received by the town clerk. However, this upset bid offer does not meet the minimum $7,500 bid that the town has posted on its website for properties such as this. And then I put in the agenda report so you can click on it and see where that's on the website. But just for some reference, some of you were on the council when that property had an old house on it, and the town had to condemn and demolish the house. We got $15,927 against this property in the demolition, disposal of the derelict home that was on it, and the subsequent legal fees to get clear title to it thereafter. So if the council is inclined to accept the offer, the attached resolution is required to be adopted, which authorizes the town staff to move forward with advertising this offer in the newspaper for 10 days. And then during that time, if there is another party interested in that same, they can go through the upset bid process, submit their own bid for it with their bid purchase deposit, and then we have to advertise for another 10 days after that for that one. And that continues until we get no more offers on the property. It's a rather cumbersome way to sell, but it's what's required by general statute.
What is the desire of the council on this property?
I'm not for selling it at $4,000.
No, that's too low.
That's what I was thinking. That's not good.
I mean, we didn't buy the property to lose money. I mean, and we didn't really buy it, we just was trying to clean it up. It cost us to get it cleaned up,
Bless
and
you.
this is nowhere close to what
No.
the
And
town has got invested in this.
7,500 is not unreasonable. That's even low.
That's even low.
Right.
You know, and I think it would be great if, whomever does want to come forward would give the town an insurance that within a year, they would commence building a new home on it.
Right.
That would really put it back in use in the neighborhood and get back on the tax rolls and provide true value to the community, I believe.
So what do we need to do, Randy, if we don't want this
Just
to?
reject the
We just
offer.
reject this offer.
I move that we reject the offer.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Offer's rejected. John, it's your turn with our budget amendments. He's given those to us.
So 8, there was a NCDOT grant, and this is just requesting $5,000 for the match. The NCDOT will provide a maximum of $45,000. Any questions on that one?
That's coming from fund balance.
Correct.
Any other questions on that one? I think we probably need to approve them one by one. So
Okay.
do I hear a motion that we approve this, $5,000 to match the grant?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay, next, John.
9, this is in regards to the public utilities vehicle. This is just increasing it roughly $10,000. This is just due to the chip shortage and related supply chain issues that made the cost of the truck significantly more. It's taken out of other accounts in Fund 30,
So we just moved some money around.
essentially.
I move that we approve.
I moved to.
Second.
Second, motion to approve by Louise, second by Larry. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 10, this is in regards to the town's charter legal fees. Again, Larry, and board, this is just moving funds around from department to department.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Budget 11, that is moving $1,000 from administration's travel and training and education line item into human resources for employee appreciation line item for employee Christmas gifts to be distributed.
Move to approve.
Second, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
That's all I got.
I have one
Thank you.
question.
Wait, Louise has one question.
Going back to the 5,000 that we took from fund balance, which means our fund balance funds that we've
Appropriated fund balance?
appropriated, yes. $1.3 million,
Correct.
okay. And that's since we passed the budget in June.
Pardon?
Since we passed the budget in June.
No, I think the originally passed budget was about 500, and then there was a roughly $345,000 budget amendment several months ago. So in totality, it's 103, not 100. I'm sorry, 1,000,003 in totality, not 1,000,003 adjustments since June.
And that includes the big Windy Oak project
Yes.
that was not
Yeah,
put in the original
exactly.
budget. that we knew was coming.
Do you have an idea about what is left in unassigned fund balance?
Roughly 5.2 million. And that's assuming that it's pre-GASB 34 conversion, which, if you want me to get into, I can, but it's very pedantic. But that's the number you're probably accustomed to hearing. It's roughly 5.2 million, maybe 5,201,000, I think.
Okay. Thank you.
Is that all?
That's all, and thank you, John.
All right, thank
Can I
you.
ask one quick question, John,
Wait,
before you
John,
just,
geez.
an update on when we might expect the 2021 audit?
I'm waiting to hear back from the audit firm, but I know that they did the field work to complete the testing and the things that take a while.
Right.
They've already done. We just need to get a report, and I think it's in our contract where they provide a draft, but to speed things up, if that's possible, I can write them a draft and hopefully speed that up.
Is there been an extension granted by LGC as far as their original deadline in light of COVID or whatever reasons?
I know they're officially due October 31st. The LGC doesn't have a huge problem if they're in by November 30th, but I think if it's not in by 12/31, the contract needs to be extended, which is not wholly uncommon, but
I wonder if it might be prudent of us to notify the LGC the issues that we're having and make them aware. We just got off of their watch list. I
Yes, that sounds
don't want
like a good
anything
idea.
to
okay.
raise any.
I'll contact them and let them know that, hey, it may be
Great.
certainly by January 31st, but it may be between December 31st and January 31st.
Thank you.
Everybody else good? Or
Yeah, we're
should I walk
good.
a step away?
You can walk a step away.
And I believe that's the last item on our agenda tonight.
Mayor, being no further business to conduct tonight, I move that we adjourn.
Second, are there any comments that would like to be made from any council before we adjourn? I'd just like to say Merry Christmas to everybody, and we just pray that 2022 will be a great year for the town of Nashville.
It will be.
Amen to that.
And I appreciate the service of the councilmen, and I appreciate the people that come out to support us and to share their concerns with us.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, and
Thank
good
you.
night.
Good night.